Okay, good morning, everybody. How are you? Very confusing. Yet I know I wasn't here yesterday. This is how my day started yesterday. I got up at 5:30 in the morning to take Lucy for a walk. I took Lucy for a walk. I came back. Driver was like 15 minutes late to take us to the uh, go get the blood test. We go to get the blood test, and I sit there for an hour and 10 minutes waiting just to get the paperwork to take the damn test. The test takes 10 minutes. They tell me it's not complete. They can kiss my ass. Um, so then I went to the eye doctor, and I waited around there for about an hour to get to see the doctor. The doctor was exactly on time. Said 9:42. She called my name 9:42. She's very good. She speaks English. Went in. Great. They think I have glaucoma. I have to start treatment for glaucoma. Uh, I don't know. And I go back in 4 months and have some serious tests run. Um, you know, like I told her, I said, you're talking about something that takes 10 years. I said, I'm not going to be here in 10 years. You know, neither is my wife. So, in the way things are going, neither is the rest of the world. So that was that. So by the time I got done with all the testing, it's 11:30. I take Lucy out again. I come back and I went to sleep. And that was my day. Sleeping off and on. I wasn't even concerned. And my body was just hurting from sitting in awkward positions and standing for hours. So sorry, no videos. I told you, that's a problem with doing stuff that you want to be on time for. Because you end up with a lot of pressure to get it done, and it just doesn't work that way. That's just life. Life doesn't function that way, at that speed. Life interferes with that shit. I'm not a big television station where I have producers and everything else, and they can put up stuff instantaneously to cover me. That's it. What you see is what you get. And I know my friends say it's okay, but I feel bad about it, and I'm getting really upset about it. And then this morning, everything was taken because Trump is playing his games, uh, doing stock manipulation. That's what that peace deal is all about. That's got nothing to do with real peace or anything like that. That's all Trump making money, and it's it just affects everything. It affects my income. It affects your income. It affects everybody's income. But the deal is, the rich are getting richer. Every second, every day, the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting fucked over. This is going to come to a head. Unfortunately, the kind of thing I think is going to happen is going to probably destroy the country and half the world, maybe. But unfortunately, that's the direction we're headed in. There's not much we can do about it. You know, uh, ah, this is just one of those things. Uh, but if you look at everything that's going on, this peace deal doesn't look like a real peace deal to me. I mean, I'm sorry if it upsets some people, but it just doesn't look like a real peace deal. So, and they bow, and they're saying Trump lost. He did his taco thing, but his taco thing makes him $1 billion. Come on, folks. These people are making money hand over fist, and we're sitting here trying to figure out how to. You're sitting there. Well, my prices are going up too, so we're both sitting there trying to figure out how to make ends meet. If you have a job, you can try to work overtime. You can do a lot of things. I don't have a job. I have Social Security. There's nothing I got. That's what I got, and that's it. And they're taking more and more of it. and just I just think good old Donald needs to be removed, and so do a lot of other people. Apparently, they're doing this 25th Amendment, but you put in you put in Vance, and you've got a religious fanatic in there, and then you got two of them and three of them in there. Really, you got RFK, who doesn't know, he's a fanatic, but he doesn't know what kind of fanatic he is, and you got Hegseth, who's a religious fanatic. All of a sudden, out of nowhere. Uh, that happens to a lot of alcoholics. They choose something else to be fanatical about besides alcohol. He chose religion. Trouble is, he's having trouble defining his religion. Whether he's, he's fighting with the Pope. So, and you got J.D. Vance, another so-called Christian who's fighting with the Pope. Let me explain something to you. If there was a God, if there was a really one true God, there'd be just, all we'd have to worry about was one interpretation of all the so-called writings by God, which I don't think any of them were. Nothing. The Bible wasn't written by God. It was written by men, and it's been adapted since then. Various chapters have been added to it. Various prophecies have been added to it. We don't know how accurate or true it is. Hey, that's everybody's spot. That goes for all those religious books out there. The Muslims, the Jews, the Christians, Baptists. I don't know if Buddhists have a book written down there. It's the writings of Buddha, and Buddha supposedly existed. And so did Jesus Christ, according to a lot of historians. He was actually there. It's the mythicism that devises around them. Especially Jesus Christ, who died, came back, went up, sits next to, and he sits to the right hand of God. Now, you're saying that he's God, but he sits next to God. So there's something wrong with that too, and there's just a lot of questions that you have to, you can ask, and you won't get an answer that makes a lot of sense, or you'll get one that makes sense to you and the person that's giving you the answer, but that's about it, It's just really screwed up, and that's where you are. That's what you're going to have leading the country if Trump's gone. Trump's only guide is green, and it folds, and it fits in his pocket. Or it's gold, and it fits in a locker someplace, which he's not supposed to be able to own gold, but he owns gold. And we're not talking jewelry, we're talking gold bars. Wealthy, I'm surprised he's never invested in a gold, or maybe he has invested in a gold mine, nobody knows about it, He'd rather invest in oil and the stock market, and then, as president, be able to control it. And that's what he's doing. And everybody calls him stupid and delusional, but this man is making billions for his people, but at the cost of lives from civilians and whatnot in other countries. The state of Israel ain't getting rich over this. This is just stuff that they're doing, and it's making me sick. But that's what's going on. That's what's going on, folks. I have no idea why, but that's what's going on. Alright, moving along. What else is new and exciting? We have the truce, which as I said, is part of that. I think is stock market manipulation. That's my theory, for what it's worth. I'm no genius by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that's, the direction it's going. The astronauts that are up in space, after some fantastic photographs and whatnot, which I like, it's all right, are on their way home now. Kind of surprising. Nothing really bad happened. I don't think they did anything spectacular. They didn't do a spacewalk either, which would have been cool. They didn't do anything except sit there and run, for 10 days and go around the moon. I guess if that means nothing to me really. For them it's spectacular. For the world, but for me personally, it doesn't have any effect on me whatsoever. And I'm not really overjoyed. I'm just glad they made it all right. Uh, See, the DOG is going to let Trump take his White House secrets home. They better have a lot of people guarding him because I have a feeling that everybody and their mother is going to be raiding his house looking for that stuff. I think there are going to be all kinds of court orders floating around. And as the political climate changes, you'll see what comes out. Now, the way there's what he's looking at now is the voters controlling the vote for the midterms. No, but he's all about making money. All right. So now ABC News is saying that Trump says U.S. may join Iran in charging tolls in the Strait of Hormuz. Come on, people. This isn't going to work out real good for anybody. Head executive believes God wears a uniform. That's really stupid. God supports the U.S. war in Iran. God doesn't support war, from what I understand. That's not his thing. That's the devil's thing. So. Trump's going after black college athletes. And now they're saying, Israel, of course, is saying that the Iran ceasefire doesn't apply to Lebanon, and they hit central Baghdad. Baghdad. Bad dog, bad dog. God, they're already calling the acting AG, Todd Blanche, an incredibly dangerous man. Well, I think anybody dealing with that's from Trump's side of well, they're the only ones in office, right? They're the only ones I can actually look at and say, yeah, they're dangerous people. I don't know what the Democrats are going to put in there. I don't know how they're going to react. But Trump needs to, have his house raided, searched, get the stuff back that belongs to the people, not him. Uh, and they need to get rid of him. I don't know how they plan on doing it, and I'm not sure that I've said that I've seen moves where they want to impeach Vance as well, but that would leave Roberts as president of the United States, and I'm not really sure I want that either. But because he's had his face rubbed in it so long, and it'll only work. A new president will only. It'll only work if the Republicans are kicked out of office too. All the Republicans are gone. And Pam Bondi's not appearing for the disposition over the Epstein files. Of course not, because she's no longer in charge. That's how they got out of that one. That was all about. She didn't do anything bad. He just wanted to get rid of her. And he thinks if he fires people now, it'll take some of the uh, angst out of people that want to vote him out of office. But the thing is, the people he put in just aren't. I don't know. There's one Senator Markey saying the impeachment process must begin for Trump. This was what I was trying to say before. Trump seems to believe firing people will help his tanking approval ratings. It did the first time around when he fired he fired all kinds of people towards the end of his uh, first year or something like that. Yeah, he fired people back then for disagreeing with him. He's firing people back now for making as a strategic move to help boost his popularity. And the only way he's popular is if you're a Nazi, you know, a closet sex offender, pedophile, whatever. Then Trump is, gonna go up in your as he fires people that maybe then you'll go along with them, but we're here's something that this is very good. Headline down here. It's this is all what MS Now. This is something I use the word a lot, but they don't seem to do much. Democrats need to talk about the word genocide, which has been committed in whatever. Let's check here. Check this out, see what's going on. Iran says Israel is violating the ceasefire already. Well, Israel doesn't give a shit. Now, the Trump administration's personnel agency is asking for federal workers for medical records. I thought they had that anyhow, due to the insurance. I thought that was pretty much everybody knew what everybody was, I don't know what they're trying to figure out. Hegseth needs to sew his lips shut, He's just, ugh. In Bahamas, 6 answers. Woman fell overboard the Bahamas. I think maybe the husband had something to do with that, but they don't appear to be looking in that direction first, and that's what they usually do in the United States. I don't know if they're gonna. Iran is supposed to open the straits. I don't see anything where they agreed to that. Trump says they did. But, Trump lies to his. Trump. I think Trump still has imaginary friends too. Whispering in his ears. That's why the guy's got to go. He's delusional. Bible stories might be required reading for Texas public schools. It's good fiction. Or nonfiction, really. I've read a lot of the stories. They've made movies out of them. They're interesting. You know, but what can I say? Alright, back over here. And we're done. That's it. I can't bullshit any longer. I'm tired. I gotta go do a live video. Hit the subscribe button, folks. Alright? Then you can go over and watch me live as I sit here trying not to fall asleep while I'm talking. Okay? And hopefully we'll be back to normal tomorrow, whatever normal is. Alright? So take care, everybody, and I'll see you on tomorrow.